Well, hello, AP World guys. This is Mr. O'Donnell. Hey, third period just left, and I wanted to address some things, particularly because of I'm concerned about how much information that you guys are all covering and really sort of comprehending here for this particular unit. And having this test come up, I got some concerns about how well you're going to do. This is a large unit. There's a lot of stuff to cover, and looking here at the terms that we had in Frazzle, there's quite a bit that we didn't get to that we're not getting, we're not grasping. So I just wanted to hit upon a couple different things to focus on and study things, ideas here. And so here, let's get out of this Frazzle game. I want to come back and look here at the, let's take a look at this. This was the questions that I gave you in the beginning when you guys had to work in groups. And if you can remember, I said break up into groups. Like here's number one, expansion and intensification of communication, exchange. So I asked you to come up with 3 examples of communication and exchange, and I sure hope you're hitting on the idea of like trade routes, like Silk Road, stuff like that. So what we have here is I asked you to come up with 3 of them. Look what 1, 2, 3, 4. There's quite a bit here. So I'm giving you the answers. Okay, I want you guys to be able to comprehend. And with very little time left, with only 2 days here, I need us to make a concerted effort to trying to grasp all of this. So here you can see that goes with question number 1. So we don't necessarily have to share it with the people that you talk about. Here's number 2 about the innovations and changes within the state. Remember government, and so new forms of government like caliphates and Mongols and city-states and feudalism and all these kinds of things here. And then the third one on the bottom there was the increased economic productivity, and so. Different social reforms, labor issues, about different kinds of labor systems, serfdom, and all that kind of stuff. So look this over. I'm going to attach this document here in Schoology. That's one particular thing I want you to look at. A second thing I want you to look at, and if you can remember, I'm going to have at least 3, if not more, of these kinds of questions. These are the short answer kind of questions. One that you're going to have to read a passage. Sorry, not a short answer. A short answer. You read a passage from a particular piece of text, and then I'm going to ask you questions that derive from this. More and more, if you can remember, the final AP exam is having questions like this. So why don't you try this one, for example, about Camel was a grower of trees by profession, and yada yada. Read all of this, and then here are the questions. Influenced by Confucianism, the philosophy Lao Tzu, this writer used the allegory of Camel Quo, the gardener, to make which of the following suggestions about the nature of government? So I'll post the answer later, but is it A, B, C, or D? I'll put the answer up on Schoology. But this is a second thing that you need to sort of be aware of. Hard to necessarily study for these ones, but these are all about reading a comprehension. So that's the second thing I want you to look at. Thirdly, besides passages, I also have visuals on there as well. And we do a lot about architecture, and I've even told you that. Right, that the test has questions like the Ethiopian churches, if you can remember. So why not you try to play not say the guessing game, but realizing, look at some of the pieces, the things that have been mentioned in the class, and realize that, hey, if I do a quick little image search and I can see possibly what are some things that we're talking about. So remember the Ethiopian churches, or today, I don't think all of us, but we got to the Pyramid of the Sun by the people of Teotihuacan, the early civilizations post it was the Olmec and the Teotihuacan, some of those early civilizations that influenced those later ones like the Aztecs and the Maya. And so you see, oh, here's the Pyramid of the Sun, and you click on images, and you can get ideas for this one, or we didn't to talk about places that we don't really get to a whole bunch. But that doesn't necessarily mean I'm not going to ask you things. So here in Borobudur in Southeast Asia, and demonstrating the spread of Buddhism along those Indian Ocean trade routes, and how where Buddhism goes, Buddhism brings its culture and its influences and even its architectural styles with them. So you can expect that as well. So that's a third way in which to be able to look at stuff. And then lastly, there's things that, like we were playing the game, and for one of the classes I had Zheng He on here. And if you can remember, it was third period. I told you guys, hey, where was Zheng He? Here he is. And I told him, let's skip this one because I got a lot of blank stares. And I'm sitting here going back and looking at our textbook. And our textbook has a whole section in Chapter 10 called The Voyages of Zheng He. And so my concern is, if it's in the book, how come we're not focusing on that? I know that I'm lecturing less and less, but in terms of doing that, we need you guys to be accountable for things. So, for example, Here I am. So what I'm going to start doing is sharing some of these past video lectures I've done. And so particularly with the emphasis of China, China has dictated a lot. So I'm going to put these links on here. And you can see this is a link to a lecture I've done in the past. I did about the sway, the tang, and the song. Okay, so the video's here. When you click on the link, the video will come up.
Chapter 11 was East Asia, so it was not necessarily just China, but who else?
And these
Chapter 11 was East Asia, so it was not necessarily just China, but who else?
Then also about the Yuan, the Ming, China. So here's an hour on this. Don't you want to spend an hour with me? Fantastic. Well, there you go. You're going to spend a whole hour listening to Mr. O'Donnell talking about all these things, particularly, like I said, here's Zheng He's fleet, expectations of things that I want you guys to know. So you can look at some of those videos as well as focusing on those big picture studyings, the Quizlet terms, and we only have like 48 hours, but let's make a little commitment to try to start focusing on reviewing everything from this unit. I hope this helps. If you got any questions, feel free to mention something in the group about on Schoology or just shoot me a note. Thanks and good luck, everybody.